understanding Gemini men. When we talk about Gemini, what is the first thing that comes to our mind? It is probably their trait of rarely knowing how to keep their mouth shut, or maybe the ease they have of always being in a good mood and making others laugh. Whatever it may be, Gemini can, at first glance, seem like a somewhat superficial sign, but the reality is that it is as deep as any other. Geminis have the power to empathize with people very quickly, as well as to be kind to everyone. However, not everyone likes them, sometimes simply because their energy is definitely unique. We all have that typical Gemini friend that sometimes the rest of the group hesitates to invite to gatherings because their chatter is simply unstoppable. And they always have that joke at specific moments that may seem funny to them, but to no one else. Whether we love them or whether we cannot stand them, Geminis often catch attention because of their incredible adaptability and their particular personality. Let's get to know this sign more deeply. Traits of Gemini men. To understand how the natives are, and specifically the men of this air sign, it is best to highlight some of their main characteristics, both positive and negative. So let us discover them together. Communicative. One of the things you can be sure of is that a Gemini will never give you the silent treatment. This, at times, can be a blessing or a torture. But what is certain is that when the time comes to communicate their emotions, they will be able to find the precise words. Distracted. A not-so-good characteristic of this sign is that, since its modality is mutable, they are always willing to go with the flow. This can be something positive, but when they become scattered and distracted, it is not good at all. By always juggling too many options, they miss out on some important things. Funny, a good quality of this sign is its ability to be liked by everyone. Their brain is like a Pandora's box. You never know what they may come up with. Their jokes go from innocent jokes to complicated pranks with too much planning. They are creative and entertaining. Two-faced. There is a popular saying that Geminis have two faces, but is it true? The truth is that, a little bit, yes. What happens is that their personality is not so defined, since their life philosophy is always to flow. This makes them sometimes show themselves in one way to a person, and then change their personality for another, which is not so good. Likes and dislikes of Gemini men. Now let us go deeper into what these signs like and what they do not like, knowing that to fully know and understand them, this is something key. Gemini men loves when they are given the space to share their opinion, that is, feeling listened to. Having a good idea, mind games, talking, the exchange of thoughts, long conversations about philosophy. Gemini men hate when someone is too closed-minded with their thoughts or way of thinking. People who are too quiet or shy. Someone who wants to compete with their intelligence. People who believe they hold the absolute truth. When people do not laugh at their jokes. Solemn situations in which they cannot laugh or talk. Strengths of Gemini men. They have great skills to be mediators. In a situation where two parties cannot manage to agree, Gemini will surely have a good point to reach harmony. With their humor, they have the power to brighten even the darkest moments. If you are going through a sad time, it is your Gemini friend that you must call. They are quick to come up with good solutions. When a problem arises, the natives of this sign have the ability and strength to think of a multiplicity of possible solutions in record time. Weaknesses of Gemini men. Sometimes the fact that they always have something to say makes it impossible for them to listen to others, which frequently makes them get lost in their own speech. They are a bit irresponsible. Let us admit that they are very good at quick solutions and are generally well focused on the present moment. But when it comes to commitments in the longer term, it is difficult for them to take responsibility. They often have childish attitudes. Gemini is the archetype of the child, which is very good in certain situations, but in others, it can be quite irritating to have to deal with their immaturity. Their dark side and secrets. Although it may seem that Geminis are an open book and are constantly manifesting everything they feel and expressing everything they think, they really have a side that they hardly let anyone see. Let us discover that dark side and their secrets. One of the things this sign does not like to show is their feelings. We think it is easy for them to express themselves, and that is true, but at a level that is somewhat more mental. Now their emotions? That is truly a difficult one. If you have already met a Gemini man, you will know what I am talking about. When the time comes to talk about what is happening to him on an emotional level, it probably happens that he starts going around the subject without ever really entering that area. Being an air sign, it is easier for them to identify with the mind and not so much with the heart. Another dark side that they do not want anyone to see is the real desire they have, at some moment, to become more responsible and constant in what they do. Everyone is always laughing, and Gemini always seems like a party to them. But this sign would like not to be always like that, especially because sometimes it is difficult for people to take them seriously. For example, a Gemini man who suddenly decides to study law. All his friends will burst into laughter and say, "Law? You?" Everyone thinks it would be impossible since they cannot imagine any possibility of their friend taking things seriously. Gemini will laugh with them to appear carefree, but inside he was really hurt by that reaction and would like to be seen as more responsible. How they handle different areas of life. Family. In their family, they are clearly the ones who are always clowning around. There is no gathering where they stop inviting the Gemini man, since it is already known how it will be, guaranteed laughter. Also, with their ability to communicate, they unlock uncomfortable conversations in the family. Work. At work, they are like a joker card. Their boss knows they can be put in any team because they get along well with all colleagues, and their great inventive power and quick resolutions stand out. They are good with numbers, but not too much with big projects. Personal goals. In their personal projects, they have great creativity, and perhaps the only thing they lack is a bit of discipline and consistency. As we have seen in all their characteristics, we know they do not lack ideas. Sometimes simply a little more concentration is the key. Romantic relationships of Gemini men. In relationships, the typical Gemini man will be inventive, communicative, and funny. If you are beginning a relationship with a native of this sign, it may seem to you that at the beginning commitment is difficult for them. They are very free beings and will commit in due time. But you can be sure that when a Gemini falls in love, he will be unrecognizable. First, being such a mental sign, he will be thinking about that special person all the time. And since he is very good at imagining a multiplicity of possible scenarios, in the mind of that Gemini in love, he has already had a wedding, children, a house in the mountains, a car, and all the possible lives. Now, from saying it to doing it, there is a big gap. But if there is something that is certain, it is that romantic relationships help Geminis mature, not only mentally, but also emotionally. It is through romantic relationships that they leave behind the archetype of the child to become men. Bonus, spicy fact to know him fully. To conclude, there is something very specific you must know in order to be able to affirm that you understand a Gemini. Take the time to listen to him talk. Yes, I know that sometimes it can be too much, but this is the best way to understand how his mind works and to be able to comprehend him better. Thank you for watching the video and let us know your thoughts in comments box below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to get all the updates.